Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of this series of KickSaga, where we are going to be following up with Dickie of Frown Clowns and talking about how his crowdfunding campaign went for Joystick Heroes. And I'm excited to announce that it did fund, and it was an exciting thrill ride, it looked like. So I'm excited to jump into it with you, Dickie. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling
Good.
Energized today.
Nice.
Good.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Let's kind of let's talk about the campaign and how it went, starting from the beginning. So, when you first clicked the launch button, how are you feeling? And talk us through kind of the first day after you launched and what happened.
I was excited. You worked so long and so hard for that moment, and then you press the button and sit around nervously waiting to see what happens. And we had a nice little start. I have to preface all this by saying, as I may have mentioned in the first interview, we had zero mailing list going in, and almost no social media presence. We had no Instagram, account yet even. So we had done very little to prepare for a crowdfunding project. And during the campaign, the more research I did, the more I was frightened by that, and I realized that
Yeah.
we didn't do as much as we should have. So the first day was exciting, and we just kind of crossed our fingers and hoped for the best.
Okay. Cool. And then as the campaign continued, how are you feeling? A week, 2 weeks into it, and what were some of the things you did? Because every campaign, no matter how successful, always has that mid-campaign slump that they talk about.
Yes. Yes.
So what did you do during that kind of the downtime in the middle of the campaign?
I cried a lot. Um, we're no, I'm kidding. We prepared for that by taking the advice from the Kick Restarter folks, and they told us to expect that. And so after the first couple days, there's the third rule that they told me about. You're going to get 1/3 of your funding on the first 3 days, 1/3 on the last 3 days, and then the other third in the middle.
Yeah.
So during that middle slump, I was just trying to stay active, as active as possible in social media and posting to groups without getting too annoying, answering questions as we receive messages, continuing to do Facebook and Google advertising, and just trying to kind of keep us in people's minds during that slump.
So you said you had planned for it, but was there anything that you changed or an approach that you did differently once the campaign started, and maybe you started hearing from backers or something else changed?
Yeah, I was told at the beginning, I was advised to send out update emails every day, starting on the first day. That I totally found that was great. We got a lot of response from that first update email. So thank you for jumping on board early, etc. And I sent out one on the second day, not as much response. Third day, not as much response, and I started to get some cancellations. So I was thinking, okay, am I annoying people with all these emails? I must be. So I toned that down a little bit, and I'm like, how would I feel if I had backed a campaign and I was getting an email every single day? And, not necessarily new news or anything like that. It started to feel a little spammy. So I
Yeah.
stopped. And I sent one out, I think, on the 5th day, and then I didn't send any more updates out until almost at the end. And I don't know if that was the right or wrong thing to do, but it felt less sleazy to me that I
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
bothering people.
right. When I think about it from a backer perspective, I can see that there is an argument for sending an email every day, but I think it has to, mean something. It has to have a purpose. And if you're just sending an email every day because you think you should, and I've seen campaigns do that where they send just kind of the same email. It's the kind of the same regurgitated stuff, maybe reordered a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can see that definitely being annoying. And so, just trying to judge is you're the kind of camp, yours the kind of camp, like the ones I love are the ones where they like drip story details or introduce new characters and stuff like that, and
Right.
you have to judge, is that yours a style of campaign that can do that, or is it
Yeah.
not? And
And
to
this isn't a long narrative, game or anything. So
right.
there's not much I could do in that way. The only I chimed in toward the end of the campaign. One other thing I'll drop here. Maybe you had this to talk about later, but one thing I didn't announce any stretch goals during the campaign, as that I was advised not to do that
Yep.
until we funded. So
Mm,
during the middle of the campaign, when I thought, uh-oh, we're not looking too good here, I decided, you know what, I'm going to announce some, and after a few days after that, I thought I'm just going to give these away, because I want them to be part of the core game,
yeah.
and I intended that all along, that they were part of the quote that I got from the manufacturer in the beginning. So, of course they are going to cost a little bit more to make, but I really wanted them to be in the core game. So I announced that the first three stretch goals were unlocked. They're going to be part of the game, and I really got great feedback from that. I think backers really appreciated that. They loved to see the new components and to know that they were going to get them. And I think that that among some other things towards the end of the campaign really kind of kickstarted us. I hate to use that word, but it kickstarted the end of the campaign, and I think it helped to get us over the line.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you were flexible and willing to kind of change the plan to try to get you over the finish line. And I think kind of the takeaway there is, not every Kickstarter is the same, right? And there's no like right way to run a Kickstarter. I think the right way to run your Kickstarter is not going to be the right way that, someone else runs their Kickstarter. Every game's different. Every, you know, crowd that enjoys that game is different. And so I think a big takeaway for folks watching is to go in with a plan, but be ready to scrap the whole plan and do something
Yeah.
totally different halfway through.
Yes, for sure. Totally agree.
So you were talking about how, kind of as you were approaching the end of the campaign, you were getting a little scared and kind of not quite sure if it was going to make it. And I've seen other Kickstarter campaigns where they were, probably around the same point in the campaign you were, and about the same percentage funded you were, and they just pulled the plug and said, "Okay, we're just going
Yeah.
to relaunch it and restart again." What was your thinking for not doing that, and kind of what kept you pushing to the end?
Yeah. I don't know, stupidity maybe. I think in the middle of the campaign, I kind of made a decision that if this was not going to fund, I was just going to pay for manufacturing and put it out myself and sell it on my own website, maybe sell it on Amazon, and just go that route. Because I really just wanted to make it. I
Right.
really wanted to make the game, and I really wanted to be able to tell backers, don't worry, I'm still going to make this. I'm still going to get it to you. It's just going to be through a different method. So that kind of put my mind at ease a little bit, knowing that I had a backup plan just in case.
Right. And
And
yeah, that takes some of the pressure off of, oh, we have to fund or else, this just isn't,
yeah, and a lot of people go into these Kickstarter campaigns, I think we all do, dreaming that our campaign is going to go just miles above and beyond what our funding goal is, and we're going to make a bunch of money, whatever. Um, I didn't really go into it, as you know from my other interview. I didn't go into it wanting to make a bunch of money. So, I just wanted to cross that finish line just as a
Yep.
maybe personal challenge, and just to 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 see if I could do it. So uh, yeah, I had a friend of mine just put out a campaign a couple of weeks ago, and it was almost completely funded, and he decided to pull the plug because he wasn't happy with
Mm,
its progression.
right.
So everybody's doing this for different reasons and their own ways. So I that was surprising to me though, because I limped over the finish line. I didn't get very very far above the funding goal. So I'm thrilled that I made it. And so yeah, everybody's got a different story for this.
And just for context for folks who haven't been following the campaign, it looks like your
Yeah,
goal was 12,000 and you got to 13,317
yeah.
at this point. So, yep, funded, you
Funded
just
on the
got over
last
the
day.
finish line.
Yeah,
Right,
just
right in the last day,
yesterday.
huh?
Yeah, yesterday
Yeah.
morning it got over the line, and then I think that a lot of people maybe were keeping their eye on it because I think a
Hmm.
lot of people tend not to support, not to pledge, and until it's funded.
Yeah,
So just in the last day, I mean, they were really coming in strong, and we ended up, getting another $1,000 on top of that.
it's great.
So yeah, that was fun to see in the last day.
So you talked about you tried some things, towards the end to really try to push it past the funding goal. What were some of the other, other things you tried there towards the end?
Um, I didn't try a ton. We tried some different advertising strategies. We pulled our ads, our Facebook and Google ads, in the middle of the campaign during the slump, just because I was just spending too much, and
Mm,
the return on investment just wasn't doing it. So we pulled the ads. That we started them up again with a fresh campaign with a different audience, a Facebook audience set up at the end, and I think that helped. And just continuing to stay present on social media, continuing to make friends there and get support. And I have to say, I'm really humbled by the efforts of a lot of my friends here. Friends I made in these communities, as we talked about in the first interview, they really stepped up, and I mean, it brings a tear to my eye, seriously, because they shared the campaign to their own social media, and they just things they didn't have to do. It's just they've never met me in person. I'm just some guy over here making a game, but it's I'm certainly going to support every single one of them when they come out with their games too. And it's this community is just amazing.
yeah, it's great to see the game design community kind of supporting each other.
Yep,
And I think, part of it is uh, you're a great guy and you play test all our games and you have a great rapport with folks. But also part of it is that we're kind of all in this together, right? And we want to see each other succeed because if you succeed, that means I, have a better chance of succeeding. I can
for
see,
sure.
myself and you and all these other guys. So
Yeah,
it's great that, but words only go so far, and it's great to see the community rallying behind each other and really pushing each other.
it
Uh,
was truly amazing and humbling, and so grateful for it. Yeah, it's great.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Um, I you know, I probably like you watch, like the Dice Towers thing where they review Kickstarters every week and they
yeah.
mentioned yours. Do you think that had any help in pushing people towards the campaign?
I should have mentioned that when you asked that question. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were on their crowd surfing video episode just last week, and the guys had some really good things to say about it.
mhm,
Um, and I think that really also helped to jumpstart things at the end. I received several messages saying I hadn't heard about your game before. I just saw it on the Dice Tower thing, so
nice.
I'm backing. So yeah, that's one of the things that also got us over the hump.
Very cool. Anything else you could think of that was maybe surprising or other avenues that people found out about this game that you weren't expecting?
Different ways to find out about the game, you mean?
Yeah, like that
Uh,
you can tell how people found out about your game that maybe you weren't
yeah,
planning or
I think I'm still amazed by how much was just kind of grassroots spreading the
yeah,
word,
very
um,
cool.
and help from the community. It just blows my mind how important that was. So that was a surprising thing. You can't just go to groups and say, post, here's my game, click the link, check it out. You have uh, that stuff. First of all, it's not engaging. And I'm kind of an old school guy when it comes to that stuff. I don't know how to promote. I'm not a marketing person. So, back in the days when I was in a band and going out on the street and handing out a flyer in front of the venue, 99% of those ended up in the trash. And it's the same thing. I was just doing the same thing all over again to
Yeah,
Facebook. Here's my game, check it out. And you have to be more engaging than that.
right. What are some examples of being more engaging? What does that mean when someone says, be more engaging?
Yeah, don't do what I just said. Don't just go and post, this is my game, click the link. You have to maybe post a picture of a certain component and say, hey, what do you think of our dice? Leave your comments and feedback below. Or which is your favorite character? What was your favorite video game back in the day? That kind of thing. So it's just a matter of getting people engaged and interested in what you're posting about.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's true in any kind of marketing, right? People are bombarded with, try my thing, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and I think instead the trick is to just be present and talk about the process of creating the game, and then people can decide for themselves after seeing it if that's a game they would like.
yeah,
They don't need anyone to beat them over the head saying this is an awesome game, check it
yeah,
out.
yeah. And another thing I think that I see a lot of designers do is in the back in the design process, they post to a lot of Facebook groups, game designer groups,
Mhm.
and say, which card design do you like best? And it really starts way back then, before you've got your game finished, and you're engaging people in the development process. And I think people really enjoy that. They like being part of the decision making, and they feel invested in your game. So that's something that I didn't do a whole lot of because I wasn't aware that these resources were even out there. I
Mm,
wasn't part of these gaming groups yet.
right.
So that's something I will probably do more of in the future.
Any other advice you have to someone like me, for example, who is here designing a game, wanting to release it eventually on Kickstarter? What would your advice be to me to start doing now and start keeping in mind as I build up to that point?
Definitely get your following up beforehand. Have a lot of people enthusiastic about uh, supporting you before the campaign starts, so you can fund early. I think that's important. It's like I said, when we funded on the very last day, suddenly a lot more people jumped on board. And I think if that happens early, obviously you're going to do better. People are going to jump on board earlier, and you're gonna do better. I also, it was interesting. I mentioned that I didn't post any of the stretch goals until very late,
Mhm.
and I wondered about that strategy because I wondered, if I were to go to a Kickstarter project and I didn't see any stretch goals, um, I would think about that. I would wonder about that.
Right.
As opposed to seeing some cool stretch goals that gets me excited about the game.
Yep.
And oh, if this funds, I'm going to get that and that. Oh, that's awesome. It makes me more enthusiastic. So I think that's something that I would have changed if I had the chance to.
That's good advice. That seems to go hand in hand with the funding early because people are waiting for it to get funded to jump on board. But if they see some cool stretch goals, maybe they're willing to fund it beforehand to try to get it to the finish line
Totally.
to get
Yeah.
those stretch goals. That makes
I
sense.
was advised to leave them off, particularly because we wanted to see where to target those stretch goals.
Mm, right. The number. Yeah.
what goals to put on them. But yeah, I think it's, for me, I think it would be more exciting to see them from the get go. So that's something I would do next time.
Yeah. And maybe, list what the first few are, but don't necessarily tie a specific number to them.
Yeah,
You can say, here's the stretch goals we have coming up, and we'll let you know what our goals is for
yeah.
them
I also
later.
kind of
I
wish
don't
I
know.
had more content prepared to release during the campaign,
Oh, okay.
as opposed to having all of these videos wham right at the beginning. Here's 6 content creator videos. I should have
Okay.
maybe spaced those out a little bit,
Mm,
to
yeah.
continue to keep people interested. This is all marketing stuff that I learned on the fly. So
Do you
uh,
have control over when those people release the videos, or is
you
it
do. You can
you
tell them
do? Okay.
exactly when you would like them to release it,
Hmm, nice.
which is great that they'll do that for you.
Yeah.
They've got obviously production schedules and release schedules that they would like to stick to.
Mhm.
But yeah, all of them were like, when do you want us to put this out? Do you want to
Oh,
put it
nice.
out before the campaign, right at launch, whatever. So yeah, that's nice.
It's tough, right? Because you want that initial surge of people to your campaign. So maybe you do want all these people to release their videos at the beginning of the campaign.
Yeah,
So it's
that's what I thought at the beginning.
yeah.
But again, I wish I had had more content to release during, and I could have done that as well. That's one thing I think, maybe I should have done a playthrough with my kids, a video, and cut
Yeah.
that, edited that all together. But I mean, gosh, when you're a small publisher, heck, wow, I can say I'm a publisher now. That's cool. So
Nice.
when you're just an individual game designer like me, you don't have a team of people working on this. I have a family and 2 kids and
Yeah.
another job, so it's just really hard to devote so much time during the campaign to creating all this additional content.
There's a lot to do, and you never know what's gonna, be worth it or not. So,
Yeah,
you can't do everything. So it's picking the things that you think are going to be most impactful.
exactly.
That is it's a tough decision. And like I said, I don't think there's a right answer for
Yeah,
anything. You just kind of have to feel what you think might be best for your campaign. And also watch these episodes and learn from folks who are running campaigns that might be similar to yours, and kind of, take a cue from those that are successful,
for
and
sure.
and do your best to follow in their footsteps.
I do have one thing I would love to throw in here.
Please.
Um, During the campaign, this is really interesting to me. During the campaign, I was floundering around 50% funded, and some family members of mine decided to boost their pledge by a significant amount. And I was like,
That's
"Oh my
cool.
gosh, that's so amazing! Thank you so much. So grateful." It brought my wife and I to tears, honestly, because this just meant so much to us. But I got some interesting backlash because of that. I got
Huh.
some cancellations and some people saying um, that I guess developers typically do that, and then they at the very end after you fund, or not at the very end, but as soon as you fund, those people will take the money back and remove those pledges or cancel their pledges,
Mm,
and it feels like the rest of the backers are being tricked, I guess. And this
mm,
is this is all information I received after doing this, and I was like, why would
yeah.
people be upset about that? And
Right.
I got all this feedback, so I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So um, just be warned, if you're
Yeah.
a designer like me and you have a family member who wants to help out, you have to play that right, because it might scare some backers.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'd never heard of that either.
Yeah,
But I can see how maybe that's some kind of, trick that they do to try to get funded, and then that's interesting. And yeah, I think it's one thing to be transparent and kind of talk about all the successes you're having and stuff, but that, opens yourself up to being judged by other people and
yeah,
them drawing their own conclusions about stuff. So, that's just a word of warning, I guess, to folks that, just everything you say is going to be, looked at under a microscope, and
yeah. And you're
you
going to
never
learn
know.
things that are
Yeah.
not cool with a lot of backers that you had no idea. So
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah.
All right. Well, so what's next for Frown Clowns? I probably gonna take a little bit of time off and celebrate after this campaign, but
Now,
what are your plans to?
I've got a play test for a different game tonight, so
Nice.
I'm
Keep going.
keep rolling on other games that we've got in development. But yeah,
Yeah.
I am taking a long family vacation
Nice.
Sunday that we've been planning for a long time. So if it's going to feel great at this point, to know that this funded and we were successful and now we got a vacation, it's gonna make the whole thing a lot more fun. So a little
Nice.
time away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I know I've personally been playtesting a few of your other games very recently, even during this campaign. And so I know you've
Yeah.
got a lot of other tricks up your sleeve, and a lot of fun stuff planned. They're
Yeah.
all in the same vein of very, very fun, easy to get into type of games. So I guess you're just going to keep pushing forward, keep releasing games, it sounds like.
Yeah. Now that this one was successful, during the campaign, I thought to myself, I'll never do another Kickstarter. This is miserable. But now that it's successful and I kind of see what to do and what not to do next time, I would
Yeah.
entertain doing it again, especially for a game like Hairband, which is one that you've played.
Yep.
That's probably the next one I would consider kickstarting or crowdfunding.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, you learn, right? You learn from the process, and hopefully do better each time.
Yeah, and
Uh,
there's so much that you worry about going into a campaign like this. And now that I know how it all goes and that it's not as scary as I thought it was going in, I think the next one would be much, much less stressful.
right.
So yeah, I guess I might try again someday.
Nice. Take a break first, and
Yeah.
then regroup. Cool. So if folks wanted to, if they missed out on the campaign and they want to check out Joystick Heroes, or purchase it, are you doing any pre-order window, or how can they find out more about it?
You can go to our website. You can obviously go to the Kickstarter page still and see uh, how things are progressing. I'll be sending out updates to backers, and I'll be posting things to our website as well throughout
Okay.
the manufacturing process, just to kind of share with people how this all works because it's
Great.
new to me too, so I want to share.
Yeah, cool. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. I'm sure all the lessons you've learned have been valuable to those who are watching. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share this stuff here. This series is great. It's a great resource for us all.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I look forward to continuing to playtest your games and continuing to support the games you put out because, like I said, they're all super fun. So I'm glad you're continuing this journey.
Yes, we'll do it together.
All right, sounds good, my friend. And
right.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you'd like to continue to follow along with these Kickstarter stories, where we interview folks both before and after their crowdfunding campaign, be sure to click the subscribe button below this video. Click the little bell icon so you get notified anytime we release a new episode. I try to release these episodes very timely so that they are happening kind of in real time, and that way you can kind of keep tabs and see how things go. So, and we'd love to hear your comments. What do you think about the approach Dickie took? What do you think about the game? Also, would love your feedback on who I should interview in the future. I know there's lots of folks who are planning to release games that are out there. And if they're a first-time creator, I'd love to have them on the show. So send them my way, please. Until next time, I'm Matthew Rodella, and this has been KickSaga, and we'll see you next time.